It's always easy to get in and out here, and we appreciate it, and the refreshments and all. And we're very pleased today to have Helen back, who's missed some meetings because of her illness. Well, it really was surgery. She wasn't ill. She just had surgery. Let's put it that way. But we're glad to see her. And doesn't she look good? Yes. Yeah. Welcome back. As we come to order, I'd like to point out that the appeals process for the Sports Authority is provided on the website and the meeting agenda. And the first item of any meeting after you call it to order is to work on the minutes, and we have approval of 2 sets of minutes today. We have the July 18th meeting minutes, which had a revision made in them to have some additional comments by Rich Ribbling, and then we have the August 15th minutes. So open for discussion of any questions, any additions or to the minutes or any changes. Hearing none, do I hear a motion that we approve both the August and the July minutes?
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, they are approved, and we're going to go right into our executive director's report. Both he and Toby and Monica have been very busy. If you've tried to follow them or call them, you know their schedule's been pretty hectic recently, and we appreciate what they're doing. And Toby, we'll have your report.
Thank you, Chairman. I appreciate that very much. And Don, thank you and Walter for having us here today. It's always great to be here. I was here yesterday for my first pre-game operations meeting, and I learned a lot about what goes into an NFL football game, and it really is amazing the feat that these guys pull off every week. And at our last board meeting, one of the things we talked about was the NFL bag policy. We talked about that yesterday in our meeting a little bit, and we've added that to the homepage of the Metro website just to help kind of get that out there. It's one of the scrolling features on the website, just to kind of let folks know that bags are not permitted in the stadium, and there's a set of policies around that. Very quickly, we'll go through the packet that each board member has. Obviously, the board minutes have already been approved. The second tab is my executive director's report, and the third tab is the CT forms. I'll comment on that in just a moment or two. That is a very simple thing. We also have in tab 4 the update from the Predators and Powers Management. And mailed to you previously was the materials from the Titans. If anyone needs a copy of that material, we have a couple extras that we could pass around, but that had been mailed and to you guys before the meeting. Just very quickly, a couple things that are going on with the Sports Authority. The Metro Council and the mayor has signed the legislation that is the ground lease. It's the between Metro and the Sports Authority for the new ice hockey facility. The signature by the mayor was done just a couple weeks ago, so that is now all official. Stewart Parking, and we're always glad to have Brasher here. He did a fantastic update last month, but just very quickly, in my report, you'll see some of the gross revenue numbers for fiscal year 2014, and we're trending very well right now in terms of parking. And in September alone, from the beginning of the month through yesterday, gross revenues were $23,553. So a nice amount there. And if you drove in this morning off of Shelby Street, you saw the red trailers out there for Taylor Swift. So that's a great concert that's coming up. I know she has 3 shows, and I'm sure Sean will say something about that in a little while. But we're always always very happy to work with, use the parking lot in that way to kind of help both of our facilities work with one another. And so that's an excellent use of the lot out there. One of the things that will come before the board, hopefully at the October meeting, Margaret and I will be working with the Downtown Partnership to develop a set of a contract for parking for the recently announced downtown economic development deal for UBS. They will want to work with the Downtown Partnership to acquire some parking, and they'll be running a shuttle. So that contract between the Sports Authority and the Downtown Partnership will come before you next month. And then just finally, very quickly, just a housekeeping. Each board member here has a board survey that we've put out to simply, if you'll indicate what day of the week and the frequency and the time of day that may be best for you, for us to meet. We'd like to kind of bring that together, account for that, and then as we work on our calendar for next year, take those suggestions to heart. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. Any questions? Toby? I'm sure we'll have some as we're going through our agenda. You heard him explain the CT forms there that we had, and any questions about those?
Let me say just a couple quick words so everyone understands what those are. The state law requires us to simply present these forms back to the board in a public forum before they are actually filed with the state. So what this does is it actually outlines all of the final terms and conditions of the bond sale. As you all recall, there were 2 bonds. Chairman Elliott, Treasurer Bender were there to sign all the forms. Nothing changed afterward. So you've seen all these terms before. There's no vote necessary. But what will happen after today is our bond counsel at Bassbury and Sims will file these forms for the state.
After signing those, both of us had to go for physical therapy.
A lot of signatures, a lot of signatures.
Okay, we're going to have the Bridgestone Arena South Entrance construction update. Patrick Holcomb is with the Convention Center Authority, is going to talk to us, and we welcome you, Patrick. And with you, you have Adam Stover from Populous. We're anxious to hear what's going on.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having us. I'm going to start out with an update on construction, then I'm going to turn it over to Adam, who's going to go over a little bit of some design updates of what we've done on the south entrance renovations. I apologize, the only screen's back behind you guys, so some of y'all have to turn around a little bit. What you're looking at, and these pictures were taken as of yesterday, so aside from going out there this morning before a meeting, this is about the most up-to-date photo I could come up with for you guys. What you're looking at is almost straight on into the new south entrance where you see the green piece of equipment and orange piece of equipment. That's where we're tearing out the existing storefront glass where that entrance used to be about 30 feet closer to the street. What we're doing is tearing out that glass, and we're going to create a new entrance, again, about 30 feet back from where the original was to increase the plaza size. And then also we're pulling that plaza closer to the street as well where you see that green piece of equipment. What you're seeing on the right, if you see the small squares that are up underneath the, I'll use this laser pointer here. If you look right in this area, that's where the video screen's going to go up, and you're actually going to start to see those guys mobilize and start that installation the first week of October. That's not to say that you're going to have the screen up the first week of October, but you'll start to see that framing go up, and you'll start to see that work progress. What you're seeing in this photo here and then in this next photo is the new entrance to the pub and retail. If you remember when you drove by before, this precast you see here came all the way across, and what you're looking into now is a temporary wall that's actually in the existing parking deck. And so that's actually what we're extending this space into, is going into that parking deck, going to that next set of columns within that parking deck and creating a space that will be conditioned, and then this would be where that pub restaurant would be, and then the potential for another retail type closer in toward the concourse. With this work, because it is a parking deck and because of weights for vehicles is different than pedestrian type loading and the amount of people you can get on that slab, we're actually going to start next week reinforcing the slab from underneath, and that entails going into the loading dock and actually shoring up the slab that's there with steel members. And we'll also start to see some steel members come in to help support some of the canopy that we're going to extend out over this new entrance into the pub. And that you'll start to see take place next week and the week after that. What you're seeing here is these guys are chipping away at the rock, and that has to do with some of the foundations that are out on that plaza when they come in with their plaza walls. So they're in process of starting to pour footings, prepping for those footings, getting those retaining walls in so they can fill up to the correct elevation to come across with the slabs. Also with that, we're having a mock-up next week to pick the exact color of what that concrete's going to look like. We're taking special care to make sure what we're doing looks like it really meshes very well with the existing building. What we don't want is, now granted, we do want to increase and enhance that area, but we don't want it to look like it doesn't fit at all. So we're being very cautious to make sure that it really blends in well. So that's why we're doing multiple mock-ups next week to really pick out that exact color concrete that we want to go with and make sure that we're achieving the level of finish that we want as well. This is standing in Fifth Avenue. Your back would be the Country Music Hall of Fame. Here you're seeing what would be the video board supports that are stubbed out, and then also this is the ribbon board. It ultimately will be the same width as these studs here, but the backup that's required for that ribbon board is a little smaller. So when you actually come and see the final product, it'll be more at that line and this line here. And then what you're seeing these guys doing going to the right, going up toward Broadway, is for a static board. That would be fixed static signage and or lifestyle type graphics that would be going down underneath the where Bridgestone Arena is written currently. This is down by Fifth Avenue where the Fifth Avenue retail space will be. I'll be honest with you, I was surprised when I saw it in person how large these new windows are going to be. It's very dramatic when you stand there and look at this and think how much, the difference that we're going to create when you walk down right now, which some people had called a concrete canyon going towards Broadway, to now thinking that you're going to bring this ability to pull you into the arena because you're going to be able to see through this space into the concourse. And then also when you're in the concourse, when you're in that retail space, you're going to be able to look out on the Fifth Avenue. You're looking out into the park there. And I think it's really going to provide a lot of connectivity between the two. And it's just a very large amount of glass that we're putting on that face, which is going to dramatically change it. This is just the first opening. They have not cut this one out yet because these louvers are still in service. I'm about to go to another picture, and you're going to see where they've relocated the louvers to this area, and you're going to see where they're putting the drywall up on the backside of that shaft. But I wanted to show you this so you get an idea of exactly how large this opening is. And I believe there's going to be 3 of these that occur, 2 more to the right to Broadway. Also, what you're seeing, this guy, it's hard to pick up on the spray. These gentlemen are cleaning the precast. You can see a pretty big difference in the precast down towards the interchange at 5th versus the precast here. And what they're doing is we're cleaning all the precast on the entire building, and with that we're also routing out the existing caulking joints and recaulking. So we're really bringing that skin back up to speed in a sense of how it needs to perform and keeping the water out of the building. This picture is literally on the inside of that wall you were just looking at. The plywood that you were just looking at is where these studs are. That's just a temporary opening. Like I said, these gentlemen are enclosing this shaft where you saw the other ductwork coming, and that's the exact reason why you don't see us cutting other holes yet. We have to get this operational. A lot of the work that we're doing in the arena at this point is really moving, relocating, changing mechanical, electrical, and plumbing so that we can move forward once the materials arrive after they've been fabricated, so we can really hit the ground running. Just these pieces of plywood here were the old openings where the ductwork used to come up through the slab and feed out into those louvers is what you're seeing there. So that's just a protection safety feature they've added in. This is the first aid station. What you're looking at here is the existing first aid station is located towards the parking deck where I showed you for some of the original pictures. We have to keep that operational, obviously, so when the patrons are in the building, we have that first aid center. So the idea is by 1st of October, the new first aid station is completed. We'll relocate that, and then they'll start using this first aid station. At that point, it allows us to demo out the existing one and continue on with those retail spaces there. That's basically the update of where we are right now for construction. You'll see a lot of progress starting to happen on the outside of the building within the next couple of weeks, and that's probably going to show a little better, more so than some of these interior and some of the relocation and MEP design type items. I'm going to turn it over to Adam now, who's going to give you all an update on design. If y'all had any questions though beforehand on construction.
What day are we still looking for completion?
December 21st is substantial completion. Adam's going to show you a slide that shows some additional movement on the garage. That will trail a little bit after that, but because it's on the garage and because it's somewhat secluded away from the plaza area, it's still going to allow us to use the plaza like we always intended to. Thank you all.
Thanks, Patrick. I'll just spend a few minutes going through just a couple changes. There's just been a little bit of evolvement since we last met. So we'll go over a couple of those and really just hit the images and talk about a few changes. But overall, programmatically, nothing has changed. One of the biggest move or the biggest add that we've been able to incorporate is bring to life the parking garage. That was one of the ones before, that wasn't included in the original kind of scope, and we've been able to do some things and massage some things there to really bring that to life, because we were worried stopping at the corner just wasn't achieving the end result that we were after. I apologize with the lighting in here. This slide is hard to see, and I give everyone hard copies later. But this just hits all the items that we were looking at. The one change since last time in the plaza area, if you recall, and you'll see in the renderings, we have some mesh that's lit with LED movements above the new pub or retail opportunity. And we were going to have permanent signage etched into that mesh, and we've moved away from that a little bit, and we're now going to have industrial-size gobos from the other side shooting onto that, which just gives us a lot more flexibility, a lot more brand recognition and opportunity for sponsorship and movement for the city as a whole. So this is the image, looking down on the main space. You see the movement. We've got the breakout entertainment area or stage in the middle as patrons kind of move around the ramp. The main LED board at the end, which will have huge visibility from the convention center side. We've got the outdoor patio, and the great thing about this space is that all of the glazing there is operable. So the entire front of that retail opportunity will open up to create a great indoor-outdoor experience year-round. And so where the Predator logo is now, that will no longer be a permanent, but a changeable element, which would be great. So then this is just another view, seen before, shooting down from the corner. The images of the glazing that Patrick was showing are going to be hugely impactful, and again create that much needed connection from the concourse to the exterior as you're heading down towards Broadway. So that that zone that he was speaking of is down here towards the end. It's roughly about 40 feet of glazing, so it's going to provide a tremendous impact. And then we've still got, you saw in the construction images, the evolution of this board, and then we'll have LEDs washing up and down behind that as well to be able to create a very impactful mood at night. And then this image is of the parking garage, where we've been able to evolve kind of that skin. And so what we've got is a three-dimensional mesh that is about 40% opaque, and what it allows is we still get our circulation, our air movement, but it provides a nice moving skin. And so we'll have lifestyle graphics in between these that, depending on the way you're looking at them, together as you progress down the street, they'll create kind of one image or one brand mark. But then you see we've got color changing LEDs washing up and down on these graphics to really create that three-dimensional movement that we're after and kind of hide the parking garage. I threw this slide in here just to really touch on some of the materials. The light's on. It's kind of hard to hit on them, but we're trying to keep it simple in our involvement of materiality. Like Patrick said, we wanted to really tie in. We wanted to have a new image, blend in well with the convention center, but at the same time, stay true to the original intent or original design of the facility. So bringing in some movement through the meshes, as well as more of a natural palette in our colors, and then a lot of lighting to really create that transitional change throughout the day. And that's it. Any questions on the updates or the changes?
I have a question. I don't know who to direct it to, but the facade changes would be substantially completed, I guess, in December 21st. But what about the retail space? When is that? Is that completed at the same time?
Sean may be able to better talk to that.
Yeah, well, first I want to correct something like you said. It'll be done December 20th.
Is it the 20th?
It's the 20th, because it's going to be done fall of 2013, not winter. once this is complete, then it gets turned over, so we can build out the pub, we can build out the 2 retail spaces. So ideally, the pub will be done pretty quickly after this completion, because some of the work can happen at the same time.
Right.
We're going to be using the same contractor, but ideally, that'll be ready March 1st or so.
So by the time of the women's Final Four?
Well, ideally by the time the playoffs start, correct, and women's Final Four, and the push to the playoffs. And then you add to the retail space, the storefront on Fifth Avenue. The goal is to get that done by April 1st, but that really takes into consideration when can we start on it based on the turnover date. The goal is to be able to work in simultaneous fashion in that space. That might be a little bit more difficult because of some of the ventilation issues that we're looking at.
So are there prospective tenants, or is there someone who's any retail establishment?
Yeah, we're going to run those spaces like we do every other space in the building. So the pub, for example, will be run like every bar that we run in the building. The retail space, the team store, run it just like we run the team store. And then what I call the personality space, the secondary retail space behind the pub, right off the new entrance that's formed there. We're finalizing our plans on that right now with 2 different partners. So.
Good. Any other questions? Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Adam, for this report. And Toby says that we need to approve, accept a motion to approve the front design or the final design of the south entrance of Bridgestone Arena. As a board, we need to have a motion to accept that and approve it as it has been presented to us this morning.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. We have given approval to what you've shown us. Okay, good. Okay. We're going to have Mr. Moore to give us an ice hockey facility construction update. We want to welcome you, Remick, for an update. This is your first meeting, I believe.
Yes.
Right.
I'm new here.
Okay. We'll probably have you several times over the next few months.
Yes, sir, absolutely. For those of you who don't know, I'm Remick Moore. I'm with General Services, and I'm with the Design and Construction Department, and we are managing not only the Predator facility, but the new library, community center, and park that is going in at the former JCPenney building out at Hickory Hollow Mall. So we've been working very closely with the Predators and parks and library and many other departments to, see the project through. So basically where we are now, for the Predator side, we're still in the design phase, final design phase. We're looking at 75% construction documents right now, coming out with some final pricing middle of next month with 100% documents. The design team and the project team consist of American constructors along with Lowe's and Associates, and they're the design team working on the entire complex. And they've been great to work with, and we're really happy they're on board with us. So you can see here, there we go. Where's the laser? There we go. Gotcha. Thanks. So this is looking towards the main entry of the building, and these are obviously renderings, and so this is what we're looking at as a main entry. The 2 sheets of ice would be further behind. This is looking from the park side, kind of looking at both buildings. So what you're looking at to your left is the new library and community center, this being the main entrance. For that, leading as a grand concourse to the mall, and then we have the library on one side, community center on the other side, 4-acre park here, and then the new hockey facility here. And these renderings just came out yesterday, so I'm not sure if Sean has even seen these. Have you seen these yet?
Yesterday.
So this would be the main entrance. Skate rental area. And This is showcasing one side of the ice. And as construction gets started, I will have more photos and, updates as we move along in the construction. But right now, it's an empty site. They are working on the library and community center. We have started demolition, and we're looking at a grading permit coming up in the next couple weeks. So that's pretty much where we're at.
What's the size of the actual ice skating area?
The actual skating area?
Yes.
16,000 square feet.
Yeah, it's
Okay. Really?
That's regulation, ice rink.
Okay.
200 by feet.
Will we have or will you have the ability to cover the ice for, convert it to an open area, like if you had a major event with lots of people, you could cover the ice and use that space?
Sure, yeah. I'm sure that's an option that we can talk about with Sean at a later date. We haven't discussed that as part of the program at this point, but I'm sure that's a possibility.
Yeah, what we do, just like in our building, you leave the ice down for every concert. We have an insulated floor. We're buying an insulated floor in our FF&E package to do just that. Ideally, we never cover it. Right. Ideally, we have a bunch of kids at states and people enjoying it. At the same time, there'll be an opportunity within Southeast Davis County, working with that business community, to host different events, trade shows, those sort of things when we do that. But again, ideally, we never do it because the ice is always changing.
Has it been decided what actually goes into the park area?
The park design?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. It's basically going to be a track. There's going to be, movement spaces for exercising. There's going to be a children's playground. There's going to be a place for food trucks to come in and sort of set up. They have a mobile stage that'll be able to come in and sort of set up for events in the park, but it's mainly a large open field surrounded by trees and vegetation and that sort of thing. There'll also be a pavilion,
Okay.
and so
Dog park?
dog park.
Yes.
I don't think that's in the program, but
Tell us the schedule on this, what you projected time?
we're looking at a completion date of August 1. For all three facilities. Now, the library and community center will be staffed at later dates, but we want to finish everything at one time. So,
Other questions that you have you want to? Okay, thank you, River.
Thank
We
you.
look forward to you coming back and keeping us posted and up to date on
I'll
what's
do it.
taking place there. Thank you. Well, we're around to Sean to be officially on our agenda this morning to talk
help
about
myself
several
sometimes.
different things and bring us up to date on what's happening here at Bridgestone Arena. Sean, we always glad to see you.
I'm glad to be
And
seen.
you're 1-1 in the preseason, right, with the Predators?
I wish we were 1-1. It's preseason. There's no postseason or preseason.
Yeah.
We actually have not won a game yet. The first two, we played a doubleheader on Monday in Florida. Next year, we're going to host that doubleheader here. But again, it's preseason. There is no. You want to add to that, Margaret? We don't worry about preseason unless you win, and then it counts, right? So I want to thank you all for letting this turn into the Predator show this morning so far. We're pretty excited about the projects we have going on the south side of the building, obviously what we're doing in Antioch, and then what we've been doing inside the building. Some of the capital projects we started middle of last year, and we're finishing right now. You'll see the most prominent one being the Marquee on 5th and Broadway. It's completely gutted now. I don't have any pictures, but it's gutted now, and it'll be finished about October 1st or so. We're concluding virtually everything else. But what's been exciting for us is 3 years ago when I got here, if I said that we were going to work with the parks, the library, general services, the MCC, their construction crew, you all would have laughed at me. I always go back to that first meeting. And it's been a lot of fun for us. It's been very productive for us, for the community as a whole, to be able to work with these guys on doing something pretty special. So it's been pretty exciting for us. Of Quickly, I'll touch on, the overall report. Sent the numbers out, probably, I assume, in your package last week. We had to touch on June, the last operating month of fiscal 13, and then the year as a whole. Of course, the yearly numbers are unaudited, but a pretty good reflection of where we are. From June standpoint, last June, we had the best June we ever had. We surpassed it this year, and we were able to outperform our budgeted numbers and then the prior years to bring the year close. And the whole year I kept saying, we're going to catch up to where we are, we're going to catch up to where we are. And despite the lockout, which really hurt our revenues on the arena side, I think it hurt our rent line by about $800,000, we still beat last year's overall revenue by $100,000, which is really remarkable. When you look at some of the lines that continue to outperform the growth of other segments, so the food and beverage lines, the box office line, it's the areas that we're really touching our guests. And again, as I've talked about time and time again, our goal is to work with our guests in the most aggressive fashion and creative fashion to grow those revenues. And it's just been spectacular. It was the best year we ever had. And normally when you say that, you're like, uh-oh, we just finished the best year we ever had. What are we going to do? How do you keep pace to it? And we're actually in the middle of, or just started, what will be the best year we ever had. So it's going to be about 4 straight years of increased activity and increased results, which is good for all of us, and we're pretty excited about it. I heard earlier you mentioned something about Taylor Swift playing. She is playing 3 straight shows. And I don't know if you all remember back when we did the Garth Brooks benefit shows, I outlined what that was going to do for our overall business. It was going to be great to have those 8 shows or 9 shows, where it was. But more importantly than what it would do for that December and for that year, what it would do for us in the industry, showing people that we could sell out show after show after show after show, which is always in doubt, with a city this size. And what you're going to see this week is we have 3 Taylor Swift shows, all sold out. Obviously, we have our game on Sunday. Titans have their game on Sunday. We have a game on Tuesday. And then we go into Lionel Richie, which is close to a sellout. We'll have the Zach Brown Festival on the waterfront, in the community. The Ryman has 3 shows. And all of these events I'm talking about will be sold out. So you're looking at about a 10-day period of time, roughly 9 events being sold out in the community. It's absolutely incredible. And again, the dividends that will pay will be again and again. In October, we have back-to-back Luke Bryan concerts. And 2, 3, 4 years ago, we didn't do back-to-back shows at all. Now we're seeing them more and more and more. Ideally in October, we're going to make a pretty big announcement on a show that we're doing in December that will be the second time that performer is playing in our building in less than a year. So it's those things that you like to see. And again, we're going to see them over and over and over again. Ideally in October, we're going to be making another nice announcement for the types of events that we're going to be set up and staged to do for years and years to come. So we're sitting in great fashion. Again, the report speaks for itself. If you have any questions on the year we just ended or the year that we're in the middle of enjoying right now, please ask, because as you know, I like talking about records and those types of things, but when you look at the shows we have on sale today, at this point, it's the most shows we've ever had on sale in the venue's history, and that's impressive. What's more impressive, I think I said that last year 3 or 4 times, and again, we're enjoying it again, because normally when you have that record year, you get really scared about the next year. How are you going to match that? Once again, we're going to beat what we did last year, so it's pretty exciting. You have no questions about records? I mean, they used to ask Babe Ruth questions a lot in 1927. Glad someone got it. What I'd like to touch on then is capital improvements, if you have no questions about where we're sitting right now. Again, finishing the year, last year's projects are coming to a close right now. Not that it was in our capital improvement plan, but when you look at the HVAC environmental work that we did, we're going to be closing out all those projects completely October 1. For the most part, they're done now. We're just doing some fine tuning, and they'll be turned over to us. And on that front, everything came out better than we thought or expected. Maybe next month or in November, we're going to have Mike Rogers from SSR come back and give a complete report on what he saw, what the accomplishments are. Maybe even more importantly, the first operating month under the new system with the new season underway. We can talk about what the real results are. It might be a little bit early for that, but year over year, we're going to be really pleased with the amount of energy that we're saving, and then better than that, the actual results that we're enjoying off of it. The rest of the renovations, from suite renovations to carpeting, signage, personality in the building, the marquee. I can't wait till we have the next meeting in our building where you can get to walk in and really see them and touch them in a different fashion. These things have gone a long way in the events that we're building. And when you look at what I'm going to suggest, I think I suggested last month, talk a little bit more in detail now. We'll get together with Toby and our committee between now and the October meeting to flesh out this year's capital projects. This year, total that I'm suggesting that we spend is about $800,000. And if you remember when we first put the SIF program in place, talked about that roller coaster. It'll be a big year. I don't want to say an off year. We're still doing more work this year than we did the first 10 years of the building, but kind of a down year. Then we'll do a bigger project next year, and then down and up and down. So we're looking at what we're doing on an average. We'll be doing about $1.5 million to $2.5 million of projects a year, keeping that building not just usable, but vibrant and state-of-the-art, where we can continue these results where we are. But to that end, we're going to talk about suites, some seats, some more signage, and dressing rooms. Very similar to what we did last year. It's a continuation of the project. The first is, what we want to do is renovate 16 more suites. We've renovated 46 to date. So this will bring us up to 62 suites, leaving about 8 more to go. The reason we're leaving 8 more to go, 3 of those are backstage, 5 of them are front of stage, but perhaps we look at those suites in a different fashion and not just renovate them for suite versus suite, but look at some of these dynamic events that we have coming up and what product are we missing? Should we do something different with those, last few? But just very continuation of where we are to date with those. We got to start putting our floor seats, the folding seats on the floor, they go on top of the ice, put them in a rotation where we start changing those out, about 20-25% of those a year. So we're going to start with that this year. The suggestion is replace 500 of the 2,200 seats that we enjoy, and just every year go back in and replace 500 more of those. So we're always taking care of the ones that are damaged. From a signage standpoint, continue the wayfinding signage, convert some of our static signage to electronic, then convert all the gray walls to personality walls to continue that flair. I think maybe in middle of October you'll see an SEC wall go up, maybe a CMT wall, maybe a CMA wall, maybe a Women's Final Four wall in March or April. But the idea is continue to generate the excitement that people have enjoyed in our building and remind them every time that they come in. About $50,000 budget for that spread of projects as we did last year. And then the thing that has the most effect for shows that we book, and it's so foolish, you always look at ticket counts, but you also better look at their back door and make sure that when a performer comes in, more importantly, their manager, their promoter, their agent, the environment that they're in. Last year we spent $50,000 backstage. We redid one of the star dressing rooms, of which are 5-star dressing rooms, maybe 12, 14 rooms altogether. We redid the production office. It is this year is to redo the 2nd star room and then redo one of the hospitality rooms back there, for our people. But those are the projects that we're looking at for a total of $825,000. We can talk about them now, or I know Toby's going to schedule the meeting with Margaret between now and the next meeting, and I assume generate a report out on recommendations. So that is my report, with the exception of one sad thing to share. Elaine Lewis, I'm not sure if you know Elaine, she has been the executive assistant for every owner and every president since the building's opened. I think she's the 4th longest tenured employee. She decided to retire. October 11th will be her last day. If you know Elaine, she'll make you laugh. She's one of the funniest people in the building. She has more ties to this community than I think anyone in the building, with the exception of maybe David Poyle, because she was hired right after he was. Just a great lady. She's going to be leaving us. Beth DeGrandis is sitting in the back right now. She has the very, very hard task of replacing someone that knows everybody and everyone knows her. But they're going to have the benefit of working together for the next month or so to make that transition a smooth one. But if you see Elaine, you'll make sure you thank her. And you won't see her at many Predator games, but you'll see her hosting the 2nd largest tailgate party at every Titans game. And you'll see her at every Vanderbilt game. And I don't care what the event is, you'll see her there all the time. And so swing by and say thanks to her, because she's done some incredible things for us as a whole. So, yes, sir. I already shut my book. Okay.
I want to congratulate you guys on completing the fiscal year, $1.2 to $1.3 million ahead of budget. To acknowledge that. And then also, though, ask the question, do you ever see a day where we get to a break even?
Well, it's our goal.
Because I keep hearing, these new record-setting years.
I mean, that's obviously our goal for obvious reasons. Under the new lease, we get to enjoy the benefit of that pickup. At the same time, when you look at the arena's, books, the way they're set up, you have 100% of the Predator costs for utilities, staffing, say you have, $3-4 million of expenses on the arena books, they don't have corresponding revenues that offset them dollar for dollar. With that said, we get closer and closer to that, and our mission statement's pretty simple. To have the #1 sports and entertainment venue in the country, built around a Stanley Cup team. If we can get there, ideally we'll start flirting with some black ink on that bottom line. It would make my life a lot better every day, not just here once a month, but over at 501 Broadway, I think, when we have our owner meetings. So.
Well, 1.3 million ahead of your budget and $3 million ahead of last year.
It's incredible.
Good work.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Congratulations.
Oh, you guys too. And then most importantly, Sunday, what are you all doing? Because if you're not seeing 2 sporting events that day, there's something wrong with y'all. It's going to be a great day for super fans. We're going to have a lot more football. You're going to go to football and then hockey. And we're going to have some fun with that. And I bet we end up with 2,000 or 3,000 people that actually do both. And we're going to get on the radio tonight and tomorrow and promote Super Fan Day. So.
What time is the hockey game Sunday?
The hockey game Sunday is 6 o'clock. 5 o'clock, I meant. Second period starts at 6 o'clock. Thank you, Jerry.
That's what you meant.
Yeah. So, thank you all.
Thank you, Sean, and we do, as a authority, commend you and the staff for the marketing efforts and the success that you've had for the past year, and look forward to this next year.
Record month every month.
Right. And we do want to reemphasize that Margaret has agreed to work with Margaret, Darby, and Sean, and Toby, and come back with us on a policy regarding capital improvements, and we can talk more about those at the next meeting. Right, Margaret?
Right.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
you.
And also, Mr. Chairman, after we're planning to do our next meeting at the arena, and what we'll do is we'll do a quick tour after the meeting just so we can see the improvements that Sean's outlined, but also see the construction that Patrick has been working on as well.
Great. Great. And they'll be further along, and we can get a good picture of what's happening. Okay. Walter, you and Don got put on the end of the agenda this time. How about that? We appreciate you hosting us here, and tell us the good news. You're 1-1. I did get that right for the Titans.
Absolutely. We are glad you guys are here. We always enjoy hosting the Sports Authority meeting. I trust that each of you did receive your packet. Okay, all right, good. I'll be brief. This meeting has certainly moved along, and I certainly don't want to delay our day moving forward. Just to recap what has occurred at the LP since our last meeting, we had 2 preseason games, had the Redskins and the Falcons, and we also had TSU's John Mary Classic. All 3 events were well attended. The clear bag policy went well. I think that we had some concern whether or not the college events would cause more problems, but it did not. It went well. There were people that did not get the memo, but when they arrived, they were very cooperative. We had some Ziploc bags that we were able to provide them, and it was a very smooth transition with being obliging with the clear bag policy. In the next 3 weeks, we'll have 4 football games. We'll have the Chargers, which is Sunday. We'll have the Jets. We'll have TSU's game on the 5th, and then we'll play the Chiefs. We certainly, I think it would be very difficult to argue that we are a much improved football team, and I think we're very competitive, so we'll continue to improve upon that, and I trust that we will certainly have a winning season. If we will follow our tab 1 is our calendar, which we always provide. It shows you all of the events and what's happening here at LP Field on a regular basis. This Saturday, we'll have the Sheriff's Department's Toys for Tots motorcycle run, which will start in Lot N, and it'll proceed and then come back to Lot N. It's always encouraging that we have something happening here almost on an everyday basis, and that keeps the facility active and keeps us as a operating unit always on our toes and trying to make sure that the building is performing like it should. Tab 2 is our casualty loss items. You see a number of items there. I think we've already submitted reimbursement forms. I don't think we received them, have we? We have not received them. The last casualty loss is with the Powell Building Group, where we had an accident in the loading dock area where a tractor in residing our field was carrying a load of sand that lost control and damaged our ramp door, which we think that the contractor's insurance will take care of that. So I don't think that that $18,000 would be going to Metro Insurance. I believe that that would be taken care of by the insurance. Tab 3 is our ticket user fee fund. If you would take a look at that, you can see with the all the documents that's prepared by Janine, our CFO. She does a wonderful job, great job with making sure that the numbers are accurate. At this particular time, we have slightly more than $2 million as our ending balance. And as we move forward with more events, that will certainly be added to. Tab 4 is our capital fund balance, which is almost $1.2 million. That too shows the amount that has been collected from its inception, which goes quite well and shows what Metro has also included in the capital fund. Tab 5 is our capital expense reimbursement information. The unfiled reimbursement request at this particular time stands at $2.7 million, which, as you know, sometime after the turn of the year, we'll sit down with Ms. Darby and Toby and Lackey and discuss those items that we would like to be reimbursed. That meeting is always a great meeting, and it's always vetted with trying to determine exactly what qualifies as a reimbursement and what does not. Our last tab is tab 6, which is our project list, which is what we have ongoing. It shows you some of the projects that we're currently involved with, some that have been completed. You look at the first item is ceiling tile replacement. We're always replacing ceiling tile. Every time it rains, there's a leak that's discovered, and we have to replace some ceiling tile. We also, you look down the list, you'll see where we talked about the upgraded stormwater pumps, which has occurred. If you noticed when you walked into the building, if you look to your right, there's some construction going on where we have, there's been some construction with the concrete. There's that place where we've called material slippage, displacement of materials, where we've had to go back and look at that again. There's some water that's washing out and causing a dip. So we decided not to put concrete in that area. We decided to place dirt in there, perhaps some plant material, so that we can continue to monitor that and to make sure that if there's any sort of sinkage, then we can go back and do it with some dirt and not concrete and have to destroy the concrete and redo it all over again. So we'll look at that for maybe 6, 7 months, maybe a year, and decide whether or not now the the water that's flowing from underneath has stopped.
Okay.
Are there any questions?
Coach?
Let me get back to the TSU game.
Okay.
Parking facilities was much better this time. I mean, the police got cars in, I think, a little bit better. Everything. Now, the big question I was asked, I guess I was asked this 50 times, and I'm going to ask you, maybe you can answer. How come TSU played on Sunday, and how come Western Kentucky played on Saturday, and Kentucky played on Saturday, and we had to play on Sunday? And is this going to be the same situation next year?
I don't think it will be next year, Coach. It was a one-time situation where TSU agreed to move their game from Saturday to Sunday.
Oh, they agreed?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Good.
They were compensated too, Coach.
Beg your pardon?
The university was compensated as well.
Good.
Very happy.
Money always talks.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Next week will be the John Merritt Classic on Saturday.
All right, good, because they blasted me. I told them the best thing I can do is ask at the meeting.
That's right. That's right.
All right.
Thank you.
And we're glad you did.
Good news.
Any other questions of Walter or Don?
Yes.
The place with the construction, is that the sinkhole that was talked about earlier?
Amy, we try not to use the word sinkhole. We don't want them guys to think that the stadium's going to fall in. You know, we want to use displacement of materials. How about that? Yes, that's the same site that's been ongoing for the past 3 years. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Other questions? Thank you, Walter.
Thank you.
I want to thank all of you for being here today, but before we leave, I want to make one announcement. Tomorrow is Coach Temple's birthday. Hey, happy birthday.
Down there. Old as rainwater.
Our next meeting, President, is October the 17th. Be right in the middle of fall time and a good time to be out. Look forward to seeing all of you and appreciate all of you being here today. Emmett.
The survey, that's
Yes. Yes. And be sure you turn that in to. All right. Be sure you turn that in.
Yeah.
Okay, the meeting.
You can leave it on the desk or whatever.
Right by your name.
No,
The meeting is adjourned officially. Thank you.